Hey guys, Tania here with another episode of Pop Culture at Home, and today we are welcoming the very talented master renovator and designer, Jasmine Roth of the new HGTV series, Help, I Wrecked My House. Jasmine, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Before we get started, I actually want to congratulate you because you and your husband, Brett, you are now new parents to a beautiful 4-month-old named Hazel. And you guys gave birth during a pandemic. So, how have you been navigating parenthood for you guys in this time?
Well, thank you for for asking. Actually, it's been a challenge. I think that would be a good word that probably everybody would use, no matter what you're going through right now. It's challenging. But I don't know if you can hear my husband in the background. He's working from home. He's on a conference call, and I'm working from home. And my baby, Hazel, is actually, she's with my mom, and my mom lives right across the street. So it's been challenging. It's been tough. Definitely the birth. I mean, having a baby mid-April we were about a month into this, and it was scary. It was really scary. It's still just, I keep using the hashtag weird times because I think none of us really know what to say or what to do. And every day is kind of a moving target, but we have chosen to focus on the positive and the silver linings and the fact that we're home and that we were able to move. Finally, after I've been working on this house that I'm in right here for 3 years. I've been building it for my husband and I, but I keep pulling all my guys off to do these other shows. So being actually just able to focus on this and move and be home with our baby has been great. So I think that's the silver lining. And now with the show airing and everything, it's cool to be able to connect back with everybody, even if it's in a different way than maybe we connected before.
And it's nice. Let's talk about the show, because I think it's such a game changer in home reno programming, because it's actually based on our own desires of DIY and HGTV sort of world. So tell us about the show and what fans can expect.
Well, I think the show is one of those things where if you just hear the title, you know what the show is about, right? Yeah. I mean, the title, Help, I Wrecked My House, it's hilarious to me, first of all, because it's the longest title ever, but it's also, that's what the show is about. So these are clients and homeowners that, I mean, we've all been there probably ourselves. And I've also run across so many families over the years where they watch HGTV, they watch YouTube, they're like, you know what? I can do that. And then they just tear their house apart and they go for it. I love it because these families are overly ambitious. And I feel like a lot of times I find myself in predicaments where I'm like, wow, I've definitely bit off more than I could chew. I shouldn't have gotten this crazy with this. And that's exactly where they're at. So I can definitely relate with them, and I completely get it. But then at the same time, they're stuck and they're embarrassed because they ripped their house apart, and they're probably having a little bit of, discourse in their relationship, because usually there's one person that's like, let's do it. The other person's like, I don't know. So the show is all about people who thought they could do something in their house, or in some cases, many things in their house, and just ended up tearing their house apart. And they are stuck, and I go in and I help them not only put it back together, I teach them, some of the things that they could have done differently. I call in the pros when we need the pros. And then I kind of kick them out and make sure that their house is so special when they come back that they can just fall in love with it again.
And, that's the thing I actually love about HGTV, that they've been coming up with some really refreshing and interesting shows with home renovations that are really inventive and different. So when they first approached you about the show, what were your thoughts?
So it was a bit of it was different than the show that I normally do. Hidden Potential is all about taking cookie cutter homes and making them custom. And I was like, okay, well, I can't really do that while I'm pregnant. So I filmed this new show, Help, I Wrecked My House. I was very pregnant, especially by the end. And it was pretty clear from the beginning that I'm so hands-on, especially in my in Hidden Potential, that maybe it made more sense to do something where I could make more of an impact, and I could have my team go in and really work on some things, while pregnant Jasmine went and did other things that pregnant Jasmine could do, which turned out to be a lot. I mean, this is my first pregnancy, so I didn't really know what to expect, but it was pretty empowering to be able to work through my entire pregnancy, and have my team support me the way that they did, and just help people. So, I think it was unexpected that this show would be the show that I would do while I was pregnant, but I'm so happy that it was.
Yeah. And you talk about it that you were very pregnant in these episodes, especially by the end of the episodes, we see them. So did you, as a first time mom and somebody experiencing all these new feelings of pregnancy, did you have any challenges, especially in the California heat? Because I remember last year it was Mina who said, she was really hot, and she's obviously from the Midwest, but when she was doing Rock the Block with you guys, she got really uncomfortable in California because it gets very hot. So did you experience those types of feelings too?
So Rock the Block was in Santa Clarita, which is so much warmer than where I am. So I was not pregnant on Rock the Block, and I kept joking. I was like, this feels like the core of the earth. It was so hot. I didn't have that problem quite so much because it was, January, February. It was a little bit cooler here, and we were closer to the beach, which was also really nice. But there were other challenges. I mean, just being pregnant on a construction site, there isn't a bathroom to use other than a porta potty. And so that was fun. That was always fun. And obviously making a TV show, you wear a microphone. So you've got the microphone, and you've got the belly, and you got the pants, and your tool belt, which after a while I just had to give up on the tool belt because it wouldn't fit anymore. But there were definitely other challenges that came up. But luckily I was able to stay pretty comfortable and just really lean on my team.
And in the series premiere, we actually see you tackling a renovation for a young family. And even though they've done some work to their home, it turned out to be more expensive for them than when they initially had done all the work. So I'm wondering, how are some ways that DIYs turn out being worse than getting a professional like yourself to come in and help?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. And that's something I come up with all the time, where it's like, what do I do myself? And then what do I do, what do I do that I shouldn't be doing? What can I leave to the pros from the very beginning? So my recommendation is plumbing and electrical. Don't touch it. Just don't touch it. Because what happens is there's a reason that people are electricians as a career, and there's a reason that they're professional plumbers. It's because even if you as a homeowner tinker here and there, you're never going to have the know-how to properly and safely do electrical or the plumbing in your own home.
Right.
And if you do, great, go for it. I don't know. But as my professional opinion, those are two things that I see over and over, where it's no, hire a professional, make sure they're licensed, and then pull permits. Because if you don't pull permits, you're really just shooting yourself in the foot. It's a great way to cut a corner and maybe save a little bit of money when you're doing your renovation, but it's not a great way, because in the future, at some point, you're going to have to do something where the city or an inspector is going to come into your house, and you have to bring everything up to code at that point.
Right. Which,
if you didn't pull a permit back then, the codes might have changed, and you might have to rip out everything you've done.
Yeah.
So it really, I felt so bad for some of these families. I really did. And it was tough. I mean, to make some of these phone calls I had to make and tell them more bad news. They already knew that their house they knew they were in trouble, or they wouldn't have called me. And then to have to call them and go through that with them, it was heartbreaking. But luckily, I mean, there's a happy ending. Spoiler alert, there's a happy ending.
Yeah.
But I know for so many families that don't necessarily have the benefit of me coming in and basically fixing their house, there's not a happy ending. So save your money, do it right the first time, hire a professional electrician, a professional plumber.
And you speak about permits too. I feel like a lot of people don't realize they have to get permits for a lot of things, even if they're extending their home, right? These are things I've learned from HGTV. You got to get a permit for your deck. You got to get a permit, I think, if you're extending your house. These are things that people don't realize, right? Yeah.
Totally. I didn't even realize when I first did a few little renovations, just kind of getting my feet wet in this industry, I didn't understand permits. I was like, oh, it's just the city trying to take money. I didn't understand that really what it is it's a system of checks and balances, and the inspector has your best interest. He just wants your house, or they just want your house to be safe, and they want you to be able to, live in a home and feel comfortable that the renovation you did and the person you hired did it right. And so it makes a lot of sense. And the codes are there for the same exact reason. So pulling permits is super important. And it's also important because a lot of homeowners will, including myself, will watch HGTV, will watch YouTube videos, and we're like, I got this, I can do it. But what you don't realize is that every single municipality, whether it's a city or a county, they have different codes. And so what might be to code in whoever did that YouTube video or online video, it might not be for where you live. And so if you do it the way that they did it, I mean, think about, you brought up temperature before. Here in Southern California, I don't really have to worry about pipes freezing. But if you did plumbing the same way in Vermont that you did here, you're in trouble. And so it's taking those kinds of things into consideration that I think a lot of just like first-time DIYers would never think of.
So you talk about how plumbing and electrical is one thing that we have to avoid doing. Is there a DIY that you recommend that we could do at like a baby step level?
For sure.
Yeah.
There's so many, honestly. I don't want to like scare people away from working on their houses. Paint. I'm sure we've all heard it, but honestly, like paint can make such a difference. I mean, paint your ceiling. You know what I mean? Like it can really, really change things. And that's something that pretty much everybody can do. Or even if you're painting the outside of your house as well. And then the other thing that I encourage people to try is carpentry. You do need to like invest in some tools, and the safety with those tools. I mean, it's important. Don't cut your fingers off. But it's less scary and a little bit more manageable, I think, to learn carpentry. And like start with small projects and just work into some bigger projects. In the premiere episode, I mean, those homeowners, they built their own kitchen and they did a really good job. So there are projects that you can do, if you just take your time and measure, and you do have to purchase some tools though. So if you're just going to build one kitchen, it's probably not worth it to buy all the tools that you need. But if you're going to build a couple of kitchens, maybe it's worth it. Or you could borrow tools.
Yeah. And obviously HGTV is so good at giving us decor lessons for everything. Is there one lesson that you think we should always know about when we are looking at our home and trying to evaluate, should we get something done?
So the one lesson that I always tell people, and I don't know if this is really like a DIY tip or trick, but you'll notice behind me, I have this whole wall of photos. And if you can, even just anywhere you're sitting in your house, look around. And if you don't see, I call them family photos. If you don't see a photo that's framed that makes you happy, then you're doing something wrong in that room. So yeah, that's my advice to all of my clients, all my friends, where they're like, I just moved. I have so many walls. I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, do you have a cell phone? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, and have you ever taken a picture on your cell phone? They're like, yeah, of course. And I'm like, print them. Send them to the printer, have them printed. It's that easy. And then the other thing that I find is really, really nice is to add plants. So I always have at least one plant in every room.
So is there a plant this season that you think we should be planting since like we're transitioning? Is there a good transitional plant that you recommend?
You know what I'm into right now? I'm literally sitting right next to one. I feel like that didn't feel real, but they're literally just a plant right here. By the way, my house, I'm just moving in, and I mean, the reason this plant is here is because that's where it landed from the movers. It doesn't really belong there. This is an ivy, and ivy is totally back in style right now. I remember when I was a kid, it was kind of in style, and then it kind of went out of favor. But I am loving that they can just kind of have these like cascading leaves. They're really easy to keep alive. And so, yeah, I have ivy, like that's what I'm planting right now. And that's what I'm using in my house.
That's really cute. So yeah, also another thing that I've loved about you is that you're so active on social media. You love connecting with the fans, and a lot of them I've noticed, they praise your fashion style just as much as your homes that you've decorated and designed. So what's it like having viewers consider you to be a trendsetter?
I can't even fathom that. But I will tell you this is like a big deal. Today is the first day that I have my pre-pregnancy jeans on.
Oh yeah.
I put them on and I went to button them and they actually buttoned and I was like, oh my goodness. And my husband's like, what? And I was like, my jeans fit. I was like, they're a little tight, but they fit. So I think it's been really cool to be able to share, especially through the pregnancy. Like this whole show, I was wearing maternity clothes and to be able to, it was hard to find maternity clothes and things that fit. So being able to share those sources and just like, if I was doing the work, maybe somebody else doesn't have to and they can just like click and order. And now having a baby and dressing her and being able to like share her cute clothes as well has been really fun. So I think trendsetter is a stretch, but I appreciate it.
I think it's so cute how like, you know, babies have the cutest clothes. Like, so when you're dressing up Hazel, I feel like there's like a whole like world of like different clothes you can get her in.
It's amazing actually. And the cool thing is like, they're not particularly expensive. Like most of the stuff I buy for her is like $8, which I guess if you buy enough $8 things, it adds up. But you can get like really, really cute baby stuff that's like not expensive. And I love dressing her. I think it's so much fun.
So, you know, Halloween's coming up though. Have you thought about a Halloween costume for her?
I have.
Okay. You're going to announce it later, but we're so excited to see. I know that babies and baby costumes are so cute.
Yeah, I know. I'm really excited about it, but I've thought of it, but I have not yet found it. So hopefully I'll be able to find it, or I might have to make it, but that seems ambitious.
Yeah, I think you can do it. It's like, you know, all these people can make their homes and stuff. I'm sure you can also, when you've made their homes for them, you can make a really cute costume for Hazel.
That's the next show. Like, help, I wrecked my baby's Halloween costume.
That would be so great. You know, so what's been the most rewarding part of filming this show as compared to Hidden Potential, which was also so equally lovely and so compassionate with, you know, people that you brought on?
Yeah, I think, you know, these are people that, as I mentioned, they're kind of like stuck. They're just like so, by the time they call me, they're so over their house. Yeah. And I think we saw that on Hidden Potential as well, but at least for the most part, they could still live in their homes. Some of these episodes and these, you know, you'll see them on the episodes, but some of these families, they couldn't live in their houses. And so they've spent all this time and all this money. They work so hard. They bought their home. They're excited about it. They think they're going to fix it up. And then they literally wreck it and they can't even live there. So then they're spending more money to live somewhere else and they're just stuck. And so walking into these scenarios and seeing, you know, how this is affecting people's lives and how kind of, I don't know, like lost. I don't know, like they just don't know what the next step is. And being able to just like take that from them and just be like, okay, I got it. Let's do this. It was really rewarding and it was really cool. And just chatting with people about this show. Yeah. Everybody knows it. Either they've done it themselves or they know somebody who's done something like this. And I think that's really fun. So I think the relatability of this show and just like, I think people are going to be really drawn to it because of that. It's also kind of funny.
Yeah, like, and I think it's a great time that the show came out because we're, you know, in the middle of pandemic, everyone wants to do a DIY at home. They're ripping out the tiles, and then it's like you come to the rescue and you're like, wait a minute. It's like, you know, it's like one of those heaven sent sort of like commercials like on TV because everyone's going to be like, I need to watch that show.
Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, I just thought about, you know, ripping out my whole bathroom yesterday. Maybe I should watch this show first.
Yeah, exactly.
And the cool thing is like the purpose of the show is not to deter people from working on their own homes because I'm the first person to just try something, you know, and I love that. I think it's more just to like show what really happens when sometimes you go too far.
And it's great. And the show is awesome and it's wonderful. And it's going to premiere on September 12th. Jasmine, it has been such an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. Congrats on everything. We're so excited for the show and we're so excited for everything that you've been doing. Help, I Wrecked My House. Again, it premieres September 12th on HGTV. You guys are going to want to tune in for more on Jasmine, HGTV, and all your favorite reality stars and shows. Keep it locked to popculture.com.